getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Nuoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haight deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. The Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
He's
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry! Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Sunday Nights. It's the iGPFun League Round 3, Season 1 of 2024, live from Silverstone. I'm James Parfitt, and today I am joined by Mr. Zach Sweeney. While Ewan O'Leary is off on holiday, I think he's on holiday somewhere, I am joined by Zach, who's going to be here alongside me for this absolute epic evening of racing. 46 cars have currently set a time here on track, and as always, we have the wonderful purple zone of Silverstone. The purple zone runs all the way out onto Aintree, so it's right the way down at turn 5, so there's no active overtakes. 25 laps here this evening, one fast repair. We're just coming towards the end of quali. There's a couple of minutes left in quali. Let's bring you up the results from last week, and we will be able to show you where everybody is in the standings. Lee Aberdeen is out in front after taking the win last week, of course, with Brent Ruiz in second on 81 points. Antonio Jimenez in third, tied with Mackenzie Roon and Evan van der Hoek on 75. Andy Flint on 72. Pedro Suarez 71. Evan Way, Will McIntyre tied on 66. Luca Verani in 10th on 64 with Robert Widgway on 61. Stuart Milne on 56 with Jack Willems on 51 with Vyacheslav Potapenko on 40 points. Rino Scattini is next on the list there as he rounds out the top 15 on 44. Jesper Sandstrom on 43 with Ben Goyate. Kenzie Newhoff on 41 with Zoltan Zamoda on 38 with Sinan Demirbas in 20th. Then we got Kevin Swemstra on 36, Michael Volkering on 35 points. Nick Cardy on 34 with Leonard Cherry on 33 with Fibard Rabelard on 33 as well. Sebastian Hirsch on 32 with Chris George Angelidis on 31. Then in 28th is Clark Williams. Koji Ito there and Nicholas Rassman are your top 30. We do only ever show the top 30, guys. That's due to the fact that we've got about 50 people, if not more, in the championship list. So we do keep them fairly low and only just mean that we will show the top 30. The purple zone, of course, means if anybody hasn't been here before, it is no active overtakes. That's no active overtakes until turn 5. Okay, so no active overtakes until turn 5. But they do give penalties out as well. But before we discuss them, let's bring Zach Sweeney into the booth. Zach, good evening, sir. How are you?
Yeah, very good. It's been a good few months since I've done an iGPFun race. I think the last one was back in July when they went to Aragon there, because I remember filling in, I believe it was for Ewan, who was again on holiday. So yeah, I love stepping in for Ewan, just coming in to join you in the commentary booth. And well, Formula 3, Silverstone, pretty good combination by my standards.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting. I watched the Formula 3 race here earlier on as well in the day, and it was great. And there was some nice action, some nice fun, some nice battling. We had kind of everything, but didn't have nearly 47 cars on track. I think this is going to bring a different dimension to this circuit, I believe.
In terms of sheer volume, I don't think I've ever seen a single class, single category championship have this many. Obviously, when you get to like multi-class endurance and stuff, yeah, it makes sense to have like, upwards of 30, 40, 50 cars on a grid. But for just one single championship, like that is a lot of cars out on circuit. And so obviously very busy.
And that's low for them.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, this is based on sort of what you were saying. I remember you telling me a story. Where was it?
I bet it was at Road Atlanta.
Road Atlanta or something like that. And you were like, yeah, there's 45 cars out on track. I was like, what? What? How many? So obviously it makes sense they've got so many safety rules in place in terms of don't be silly, and it makes sense because it's very easy for things to get carried away. But just because people are going to be a little bit more cautious and avoid overtakes in certain places as such, doesn't necessarily mean we're going to be losing anything in terms of the racing.
Absolutely not. I believe this season, Road Atlanta, we had that many cars. They were actually off the grid, up round turn 12, up over the hill, and again was just down the other side of the hill. The leaders were going into turn 1, and the back end was just barely coming around the last corner. There were so many cars. Yeah, 53 it was. 51 had started from the last chicane. That's how far back they were. But out in the Syria YouTube chat there as well. Welcome in, buddy. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, 53 at Road Atlanta. And as I say, they were literally right the way back by the chicane. It was insane, the amount of cars they get on track. And we've been upwards of 59 within the first couple of seasons doing this. So for the fact that we've only got 46, it's a bit of a bad week. There must be people on holiday somewhere as well. But it's been absolutely amazing. Yeah, I know. What can you do?
Only 46, it's dreadful.
You know, that's the thing, right? Most leagues have caps, like on, 30 or 35 or 40. I just love the fact that the IGP is just like, nah, we'll have 60. Cap it at 60. Yeah. But it has been around for, we're coming into the 21st that they've been doing league racing.
That's as old as you are, isn't it, right, James?
Yeah, I wish. I mean, yeah, mate. That's exactly as young as I am. I can't even remember that far back. Right, let's bring up the grid. Kenzie Newhoff is him first. He's back this week with Lee Aberdeen there as well. Last week's winner. Pedro Suarez on 3 with Evan der Hoek on 4th. Tony Jimenez in 5th. Samuel Hermer 6th. Kevin Webster 7th. Nicholas Russman 8th. Mackenzie Roon in 9th. And Brent Brewers in 10th. And Will McIntyre Jones and Luca Varani rounded out the top 12. On from there in 13th is Evan Way, then Andy Flint, Clark Williams, Alistair Hay, Michael Volkering, Patrick Piper, Stu Milne and Thibaud Rabelard ran out the top 20. Adam Tolsma, Eddie Amos, Manuel Vargas and Robert Ridgway in 24th. In 25th is Stephen Larkamp with Stephen Ridders alongside him in 26th, 27th, Leonard Chenu, 28th is Vyacheslav Potipenko, 29th is Rob Molderink in 30th, it's Chris Stewart with John McKenzie in 31st, Reed Dennis 32nd, Ben Goyate in 33rd, Renus Gattini in 34th, Soyman Samara in 35 and Marek Otlovs in 36. On from there, Andrew Buskowski in 37, Jason Wilkinson in 38, Richard Venn in 39, Patrick Rowlands 40th, Patrick Williams in 41st, with Maximilian Gabart in 42nd, Matthew Gracie 43rd, Oscar Artinio in 44th, Chris George Angelidis 45th, Matt Brewer 46th, and Dave Palmer in 47th place. There is Lee Aberdeen at the front, and all the way at the back, it's Matt Brewer. So there you go. That just goes to show if we can go look a little bit forward from Matt. Let's have a look and see if he can actually see. No, the leader's around the corner. So great job from all of these guys. It's going to be a very exciting one, but let's get this up and running as Kenzie Newhoff is on that pole position. He is going to be getting us up underway. We've got 25 laps of what plans to be absolutely epic racing here as well. We are now running. The lights are up, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are now green here as well on lap 1 of 25. Don't forget, no active overtakes until they go round turn 5. And they will all line up probably single file. There will be some people who will be obviously overtaken, and that will be due to the fact that obviously some have gone offline or some have gone out the way. But we are coming round the corner now with Kenzie Newhoff and Lee Aberdeen, and now we are up and running. We are now fighting for positions here as well, and now we are green. Kenzie Newhoff, Lee Aberdeen, Pedro Suarez, even Van der Hoek having a nice little battle here in 4th place as well. Brent Brewers further down, going 2 wide there once more with Luca Varani nestling in right behind him in 12. Evan Way there as well, and unfortunately for John McKenzie, he looks like he's had a bit of a battle further down here, Zach. So far so good for the top 16.
Yeah, everyone keeping it nice and clean, which is exactly what we want to see. Of course, they're past the purple zone, which means that they're free to go at each other side by side. I believe that's Brent Brewers, Mackenzie Broon swapping places into Copse Corner. So many cars, so little space, and yet such a fast and flowing circuit in the form of Silverstone, of course, taken to the full Grand Prix loop. Very fast. These Formula 3 cars definitely have got the downforce in order to take these corners at some very high speeds. Couple that with some sheer volume, and I'm surprised we've not seen more carnage and chaos, in fairness.
Yeah, no, we are nicely away here as well as we go on to the air intake drive of Pedro Suarez with Ewan van der Hoek on the inside. He's going to squeeze Suarez. Suarez is going to have nowhere to go now. He's going to be running down into turn 16, the chicane here as well. See Suarez tucked up right behind him. Is he going to be able to get a challenge over Van der Hoek? He's not going to be able to get a challenge, and now nestles in. There's action all the way through the field, right the way down to Reed Dennis, who is one of the highest gainers at the moment, gained 6 places. Chris Stewart is in fact up 9 places here with Eddie Amos and Stephen Larkamp there behind them respectively as well. But it's still action within the top 10. Kevin Zwemstra, Samuel Hermer having a nice little battle further down the order here, Zach. There's a lot going on here, as there normally is, as we're on lap 2.
Still a long way to go, of course. So these guys have still got a lot of things to be mindful of, but settling into this race quite nicely, just getting into that rhythm. Silverstone is a really easy circuit just to get into tune with. Flows really nicely, quite naturally, especially in open wheel cars, especially sort of higher downforce ones like the Formula 3 machine. Of course, it's still a very raceable car, as we're seeing that right now. Mackenzie Roon once again fighting away, of course, with Brent Ruiz. Mackenzie Roon, not my best of friends after the last couple of days, but I'm still cheering for him. He's still doing quite well, fighting in 9th place. Of course, Ruiz on the right, Roon trying to go the long way round, of course, through Woodcote in towards Copse Corner. It's going to be a very brave move to make if they're going to try and go for that one. And thankfully, Mackenzie Roon, chose the better option, I think, of backing up.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw Mackenzie earlier on. He finished second here at Silverstone for the race earlier on in the day. He did absolutely stellar job there as well. Kind of, for Mackenzie though, it was kind of not really a race of regrets, but just a missed opportunity. Can we put it that way? I think it was Mackenzie Roon. It was just a missed opportunity to take the win earlier on. Just didn't quite make it. But at the moment, Kenzie Neuhoff is out in front with Lee Aberdeen in second, Ewan van der Hoek in third, and Pedro Suarez in fourth. Still battles all the way through the field. You can see it on the left-hand side. When you hit a white time, that's the next pack. And Brent Brewers is leading the pack with Roon, Brani, McIntyre, Jones, Wade, Flint, Williams, Hay, Piper, Ridgway and Ridders. And then you've got Potapenko and a little group behind there as well. You can see Leonard Cherry making his way. Stephen Larkamp is spun in Club Chicane. Not an ideal place to be sitting, but it's just got to kind of sit there. Don't dare move, dear sir. And unfortunately for Stephen Larkamp, he's gone all the way down to the back of the order. Not an ideal place to spin there, Zach, but one that they definitely can't hold on to.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, and yeah, you're right in saying just don't move, because the moment he does, things are going to get worse. Maybe if he stood still, someone would have hit him, but he done the right thing there. Stayed predictable, stayed still and waited. As frustrating as it is as a racing driver to see so many cars and so much time pass by you, it's the better option, obviously, not only for your sake, but everyone else around you, as well, as to avoid a bigger incident occurring. Following on, once again, Kenzie Neuhoff still controlling the pace from pole position. Lee Aberdeen as well, doing a good job. Pedro Suarez and Ewan van der Hoek swapping places in the favour, of course, of Van der Hoek. And now we're going to see as to what happened to the 62 machine into the Vale chicane.
Stephen Larkamp there. Whoa! Don't believe there was any contact, but I don't believe there may have been a dose of something that may have caused Larkamp to go through. We are on board with Neuhoff. Just give us 2 seconds here. Just having technical issues with the liveries not loading in correctly, and they are white at the moment. Kevin's Webster there for the Architect NHR by Nyman Racing. He goes along here as well and takes that position, moves up into 5th place with Tony Jimenez in 6th. Van der Hoek, Pedro Suarez, they're also in 4th place there, Zach. The great battles overall from all of these guys, and it's going to be an interesting one, I think. We're going to see how this one really pans out.
I think so. Obviously, it's always interesting to see how a race develops, and sort of progresses as time goes on. Obviously, the top 4 incredibly close on pace. Pedro Suarez setting the fastest lap with a 1:51.9 on that particular lap, nearly 6 tenths quicker, or about 5 tenths quicker, I should say, of our race leader of Kenzie Newhoff. Of course, helped and assisted with the slipstream as such. But still a remarkable lap time being put in from, of course, the man from Portugal, matching the pace even quicker than the pace of those around him. So yeah, that top 4 fight should be very interesting, but they shouldn't get too complacent, because not too far back is Svenstra, just in behind, of course, the flying Dutchman in 5th, Tommy Jimenez, Hermer and Rasmussen. And then also behind that, only a second or so before another very long train down to 17th. So I've got to be mindful, be careful, and I don't think Dennis has got the memo.
I think he has, bless him, for Reed Dennis there. That's Eddie Amos alongside him. Oh, seen this. We have seen this before. Oh, cross front of the 33 car as bits of carbon go flying off all over the place here. Lee Aberdeen and Ewan van der Hoek here struggling away, with Pedro Suarez and the Hydro Racing Forces right behind him here as well. The nice little battles materialising. Kenzie Newhoff's opened up a second gap at the moment, with Kenzie Roon 1.8 seconds back there as well from Nicholas Rasmussen. Before we get into the Roon train, Brent Brewers, Luca Barani, Will McIntyre-Jones, Evan Way, Andy Flynn, Clark Williams, Alistair Hay and Patrick Piper all going to be battling away here, Zach, as well. This middle pack going to be quite an interesting one, as there was a move further up there. I believe that was Pedro Suarez going side by side with Kevin Swim.
Yeah, I think a couple of moves being made. Of course, the breakaway actually from Newhoff to get away from Van der Hoek in second, of course, getting ahead of Lee Aberdeen. So that's obviously going to be to the benefit of the leading Dutchman, of course, heading the pack, of course, following with Pedro Suarez in his pursuit to get himself up onto the podium. Going to eye up, of course, Lee Aberdeen and just try and find a way through if possible. Thinking about those moves, of course, seeing where he is quicker, where he's losing, and of course analysing all that data to sort of compile where is best to launch an attack.
Well, Evan Way in MRP fighting away down in 13th with Will McIntyre-Jones there, and Luca Barani in front, with Brent Brewers further up the road and Mackenzie further up there a little bit from then on. You can see the track map. The cars go from Luffield all the way down into Village. That's as much space as these guys are needing. Chris Stewart fighting out with Vyacheslav Potapenko once more here as well. The nice little battles materialising all the way through the field. Every driver's got somebody to battle somewhere, and I can tell you what, Ewan van der Hoek and Lee Aberdeen, they're battling it out here nicely, Zach, as well, as Van der Hoek is in second with Aberdeen in third.
Yeah, that top 4, well, now fight for second, really, as Newhoff is getting away, unless Van der Hoek can do much about it. They need to hunker down, really, sort of stall the battles, catch back up onto Newhoff, get back into that slipstream, which is so powerful around a circuit, so straight line speed oriented as Silverstone. Of course, you can see how long these trains are, but then the gap between first and second, you know, is bigger than sort of the gap between 3, 4, 5 cars in the pack. So Van der Hoek needs to get a move on, get after Newhoff if these guys want any chance of winning the race, because otherwise the best they're going to get is settle for second.
Jones has got Luca Barani tucked up right behind him here as well. Is the view from Luca Barani's right front suspension as you are on board with him here. That is McIntyre-Jones right in front of us. Barani's on his way now down through turn 1, which is through Abbey, on the run round Farm Curve. Coming up into the right-hander of Village. It's going to be hard on the brakes. Barani's got an opportunity. Can he use that inside line? He can't. Now this is where the danger zone happens. People always try and go inside of the loop there, and that's due to the fact that the outside line, isn't it? We had this on Saturday as well, in a different series that we covered, and people go wide and then people take a dive up the middle expecting the outside not to see.
Yeah, people can go for some audacious moves, to say the least, and in fairness, you can't blame them, because it is very easy to sort of feel sort of tempted to go for that, because obviously here at Silverstone a lot of corners are faster flowing, especially, you know, the higher up the junior Formula ladder you get, the faster the cars you're in. As side by side into Copse corner, the 46 going to go for the move, thinks about it definitely. Mackenzie Roon, of course, trying to hold off from Ruiz, who is trying to that 9th place his. They are going to momentarily go side by side to Beckett, but yeah, like that, an audacious move to even go for a look. But because these cars are so fast, there are not really many braking zones to sort of get those, those sends in. They have to be very, very mindful of where they're going for them, and obviously make the most of any opportunities that they can get. As good of a circuit as Silverstone is, it's oftentimes one of the most difficult circuits to get an overtake down.
Absolutely, and we were talking about this on Saturday as well. We both love Silverstone as a circuit, but sometimes the racing is just a little bit meh. You know what I mean? And that's just the nature that there's no fast stops, there's no hairpins, there's nothing for them to really kind of get on the brakes with. Yes, you've got the village, but often as we'd love to see somebody take a dive up the inside of village. Van der Hoek here as well. Is Aberdeen going to take that dive up into village? He's not. Is anybody else behind him? What about Mackenzie Root's train? Are they going to take a dive? They are definitely not. Clark Williams, they are definitely not. Chris Stewart is another one. Is he going to take a dive over Vyacheslav Podopenko? He isn't. What about Wachowski? He is battling away with Richard van der Ven here as well in the MRP, which is Modern Racing Prince. Is he going to take a dive round the outside? He's not there as well. Van der Ven being late on the power. There's that opportunity. That was what we were talking about. The thing is, for Wachowski, he was kind of lucky Van der Ven saw him and left him room, because it was almost like, I expect you to go, but you didn't quite go through. So it's like that old saying goes, he who hesitates loses. And now Wachowski is looking at going round into Luffield, into Brooklyn, into Luffield. Now Wachowski's running that inside line. That's going to leave Van der Ven trying to come around the outside, tuck in now, see if he can get a little bit of a slingshot of this one once more as they start going down that back straight through Woodcote, down the oil pit straight there as well. Very interesting, that very different way of driving some of these. And Van der Ven is battling away quite nicely.
You're going the long way around a Stoke corner, a bit of contact on the exit, and oh my goodness me, parts going everywhere. Not entirely sure. I think they've just managed to face themselves back in. Not sure if that was an error on iRacing's part, but side by side, the Magnus Beck, it's close to contact. Richard van der Veen goes off the road, cuts across the S's, rejoins just ahead of Wojciechowski, and now, obviously through Chapel Curve, it is going to be the Brazilian that gets the up and under, gets the drive, and then of course Richard van der Veen really struggling in terms of pace. So maybe there was damage.
Slow down.
Of course.
Yeah.
Quite a hefty one as well.
Yeah, he would have go slow. Rasmussen in the Alcantec NHR, he's chasing down Zwemstra and Pedro Suarez. Suarez in the Hydro race. Kevin Zwemstra in the Alcantec NHR by Nyman Racing. Rasmussen in the Alcantec NHR. So there you go, these guys battling away. And then Tony Jimenez, Emerald with Samuel Herman, Mackenzie Boone and Brent Ruiz all tucked up right behind them as well. There's a full list of cars going here, Zach. It's going to be interesting. I think the interesting thing is, yes, there's been some incidents, and Matt Brewer has just basically jumped back into the pits here. We've still got 44 cars, I believe, still running at the moment, including Michael Volkering, last one. He's battling away with John McKenzie and Rob Mouldering there as well. So there's still 44 running on here as well. We've got lap 8. Oh my God, my teeth are not working.
You're all right, James.
Oh, my teeth ain't working today. Lap 8 out of 25.
Yeah.
I'll give over.
Like, it's fine. It's not like this is your day job or anything like that. It's not like you're paid to talk well. It's fine. It's absolutely okay. But anyway, following on with
Mr. Sweeney, behave yourself, dear sir.
No, why would I? I told you I was going to give you a hard time earlier. I pre-warned you. It's your problem now. You should have got someone else to come in. No, it's fine.
One of them days, look, when you get to my age, right, and you have to put your dentures out of glass.
It's a long time away.
It's a tough day. Don't start. As Samuel Hermer is battling away with Tony Jimenez. Brent Brewers here as well. Will McIntyre Jones coming into the chicane. Out now they go. Turn 18, which is Club. Down that pit straight. Cross the line once more. Another lap knocked off. 9 of 25 done. And they've still got a good few to go. Look at Rani there battling away with Will McIntyre Jones on board. We go with Rani now as well. Is he going to look at down up in the Oh, was there an opportunity? Absolutely not. Will McIntyre Jones position the car in the right way. There's that not allowing Varani to get through.
And that's really all you need to do here at Silverstone. Just park the car exactly where it needs to be quick off the exit to corners and going into corners, and you should have a fairly safe algorithm. But of course, with pack racing being sort of as intense as it is, reminds me of top-level karting races as such. Everyone nose to tail, almost essentially, you know, karting aside as well, almost as if it's an oval race as such. That same dynamic of cars just being nose to tail, using the slipstream of each other to stay close, of course. It's a fairly similar dynamic in that regard. So yeah, of course, just parking it in the right place, being quick where you need to be, you should, as I said, have a fairly safe formula in order to stay ahead. Lee Aberdeen under pressure from Ewan van der Hoek, of course, just in behind, and of course these two have been jostling for quite some time. Still only 2 seconds back off Nuoff though, so it depends, because obviously these two have swapped positions a couple of times so far this race. They've been battling a little bit, but you can see that whilst they haven't been battling, not only have they pulled away from Suarez in fourth, but they're also slightly closing into North ahead. So surely it's more beneficial just to work as a pair.
Yeah, I would say that, and I agree. But one of the things that I'm going to find even more interesting, being a racing driver ever work in a pair with another one. So there are
clever ones.
Yeah, there are clever ones. That's the thing. There are opportunities for them to be able to do it, but it's whether or not they do wrap it up, like Kevin Webster and Pedro Suarez here. Clearly, from Webster's point of view, you can't clear Suarez, but the only thing they're able to do is just stay with Suarez and try and make up positions, see what happens. But tough one. It looks like Patrick Rowlands might have had a minute here as well, as he has just unfortunately gone down into ninth place. Even Van der Hoek there with Kevin Webster tucked up right beside him, and Tony Jimenez, Samuel Herman, Mackenzie Roon, Brent Ruiz, and also Will McIntyre Jones there with Luca Varani as well.
Plenty of cars inside this this train. It spans, was that from Jimenez down to Flint, so from 7th to 15th. I was going to, you know, for most championships, that would be a decent chunk of the grid. Obviously, it doesn't really make much of a dent in terms of the sheer volume that we've got for this one as we approach the halfway point in this race. Of course, Jimenez, a very strong driver, the Spaniard, and at the moment is hanging on to a very good place inside that top 10. And again, we talk about the volume of the grid. To finish inside the top 10, that's good going.
Pedro Suarez is one of them there as well, and he will hopefully get this one done and finished inside the top 10. Kevin Wemstra, Nicholas Rasmussen, and Tony Jimenez. There was Samuel Hermer once more. Kenzie Nuoff doing a great job out in front. 2 seconds at the road for Nuoff. He's a previous champion. Zach, he knows what he's doing. He's gone and earned this week as well, and now has just basically gone out and absolutely dominated the field at the moment. Well, 15 to go, and I don't see anything stopping Nuoff at the moment.
No, I don't really think so either. Again, he's done everything in his power. Of course, took pole position. That's step one. Led from pole position, of course, in the opening laps. That's step two. Has now been able to build a gap when those behind him weren't really too sort of mindful of the bigger picture. He was then able to be like, all right, yeah, I'm just gonna go. It's just like it's like that scene like in cartoons or whatever, where there's that awkward situation and then you see that character just take a very long step to the side and get out of it. That's basically what Nuoff has just done. He's just taken a big old long step, gotten out of the awkward situation of the battles from behind, and has now begun to check out and stretch that advantage. Of course, we've got battles up and down the field, so definitely we're not lacking any entertainment whatsoever going into Brooklyn. Side by side, Vemstra, of course, going to be under pressure. As you can see, it's going to be side by side. Suarez is going to try to go to the outside and get himself up into fourth. Also, Lee Aberdeen and Hoek fighting for second. So, of course, Nuoff, he's not getting any fun, but at least he's getting, you know, race wins. But well, get back in there, have a battle with people.
We expected to do battle. Got back to.
Slow down.
Oh, he's never going to. Sundays there. Pedro Suarez, Rasmussen battling it out here as well. McIntyre, Jones, and Roon with Luca Varani still going at it here once more with Evan Way, Andy Flint further down with Clark Williams doing a great job once more. There's some great little battles materialising. Great little battles happening as well. We've got here at Silverstone, and all in all, it's quite a different race so far. It's yes, that's the way they've been moving their cars around, trying to get themselves into the right position. Pedro Suarez is one of them over Kevin Swemstra here as well. Suarez does go up the inside into Stowe corner there. And now Swemstra is trying to come back at him as well.
Yeah, there's just constant pressure really being applied. Looking to the inside of Vale, but Suarez, of course, not able to go for that and is now actually under pressure from the Dane of Rasmussen, who looks to go to the inside, but of course tucks back into the slipstream going into Abbey Farm, then Village. So Suarez doing a good job as to hang on to that fourth place. But again, the more they're battling, all they're doing is capping themselves, because obviously it's been great to watch, but already halfway into this race, they're 3 seconds off the podium, and if they continue how they are, they're only going to get further and further away. So by hunkering down, Swemstra preventing Suarez from getting his way through has just stopped them from getting on the podium, essentially.
Definitely has. They've just kind of battled each other here as well, with Will Jones in back, Luca Brani, Evan Way, and Clark Williams fighting all the way from these guys. All the way down the order, there's a few the pits where Andy Flint has just unfortunately put himself into the pits as well. We can have a look and see what happened to Andy Flint here. Again and okay. So great action all the way through, and unfortunately Andy Flint just on a little bit of ride here as well with Pedro Suarez in.
Plenty of people, of course, fighting away still, as is the sort of the general consensus really of this race. You know, battles are just attracting more and more people. The stronger the battle, the bigger the pull on the rest of the pack. And that's what we're getting here in this fight for Swemstra, of course, putting up a bulletproof defence behind, and it's causing this cascade of more and more cars bunching up. Brent Ruiz side by side to the outside of Stowe corner, using the long way around, using that outside momentum, but a bit of tyre smoke being kicked up. I think that's Mackenzie Roon going around, or is it Hermer, one of the two. Smoke being kicked up in the background. Of course, one of them had some issues, but either way, the 46 up into 8th.
Was Mackenzie. They get good team there as well. Goes round, and unfortunately, Samuel Hermer, it goes well there. Once more, Zach. It's a bit of a tough one for these guys, but Luca Varani still up and running good, but Will McIntyre Jones in front of him. It looks like he's been following all the way through here as well as.
Yeah, the 222 up now into 10th with, again, plenty of opportunity to go forwards in this race. Side by side, Swemstra versus Suarez once more into Brooklands. Who's going to be the braver one on the brakes? It seems like it is going to go the way of Suarez on that left-hand side. He claims the corner, takes the track away, and edges that car up now into 4th. So Swemstra, his defence was good. Didn't last long enough to, of course, keep in that 4th place all the way through the race. But with how powerful the slipstream is, I'm sure he's going to eventually find another way through.
Sure he will here as well, with him Van der Hoyt and Lee Aberdeen battling it out quite nicely as well further down the order. It's going to be very, very interesting as well. And Clark Williams as well fighting once more. It's a good, interesting battle of people here, and it's going to get even more interesting over this last 12 laps. And Lee Aberdeen hold on though. That's going to be the press of Van der Hoyt on this.
Yeah, into Stowe. Not really much that they can do with each other there. Obviously, Lee Aberdeen driving a really nice race, and hoping that, of course, his bandwidth is good enough. Obviously, being from that portion of the world, I believe I don't know if that's New Zealand or Australia, one of the two. I always get the two mixed up. I think it's the Aussie flag, but I know that both nations get offended when you call them the other one. So I always tread really carefully with those guys. But either way. Of course, with one being in Oceania, one being in Europe. Thankfully, there's not too much blinking around going on, and thankfully there's not been a healthy dose of netcode as of yet. The Aberdeen, though, keeping that 2nd place really nicely. But the thing is though, on their good laps, they're matching, if not quicker than Nuoff. And they've still got a decent chunk of this race left to go. It's not like it's the final lap and they're only going to be able to get 2nd place. There's still chance to go and win. I don't understand why they're not.
Oh, it just depends if they're going to fight together, isn't it? Van der Hoyt and Aberdeen. You know, if they're going to keep scrapping, it's unfortunately not going to happen for them, and they're not going to move forward. You know, they're opening a gap from Pedro Suarez. Is that they've still got time to make it here as well, but it's going to be tough for them, I think. Well,
it's not going to be easy by any means. And but at least it's worth a go, because right now all they're doing is guaranteeing themselves a second place, unless North obviously has issues, spins, whatever. That is still a possibility. But if everything goes smooth for the Dutchman out in front, Lee Aberdeen and Hoyk, all they're going to be doing is, as I say, capping themselves in second place. Whereas if they at least give it a go, give it 2, 3, 4, 5 laps, and then see the gap, and then if they think, okay, he's not catchable, now let's fight. Then yeah, they've still got, what, a good 6 laps of the race left to do so. Still plenty of opportunities for them to decide their positions. But if then after those 5, 6 laps they think, hang on, we've closed in by a second and a half, give it a little bit more, we'll be in the slipstream, and we could still win this race, then it's at least worth trying for, rather than just settling as such.
Oh, I do agree with you as well, and it looks like Zwemstra and Van der Hoek are still battling away nicely here. You can see him in the background there with even Van der Hoek as well. Is he going to be able to get past it? That's going to be the question. Zwemstra is kind of this movable object. This Rasmussen who's trying to chase down Zwemstra, and Rasmussen there as well doing a stellar job. But I don't really know if anybody's going to catch Rune, to be honest. I think Rune's just too far ahead, with Lee Aberdeen behind him as well. It's 4.47 seconds back to Suarez and Zwemstra. He's never going to catch Rune. Yeah, I mean, Nuos out in front, then Aberdeen, Suarez, Zwemstra, Rasmussen, and Van der Hoek and Ruiz.
Oh, Ruiz. I thought you meant Rune as such. No, it's fine. Sorry, that's me having a blonde moment, or just being deaf. Either one. I thought you said for a moment that Rune was leading. I was like, hang on. No, I don't think so. In fact, yeah, he's down in 23rd place, not really having the best of times, is he, after, of course, having the success earlier on, and his success generally in Formula 3 machinery. We've got Rasmussen fighting away with Van der Hoek for 5th, side by side between the pair of them, into Kopp's corner, and of course the Dane stays ahead, and of course keeps that, stays behind, I should say. Hoek able to keep that 5th place, but not really looking too great for what once was a fight for 2nd. Now, unfortunately, a fight for 5th.
Yeah, unfortunately for Rasmussen and Van der Hoek there. Mackenzie Rune looks like he's had another moment here as well. So, unfortunately for Mackenzie Rune there, and Ivan Van der Hoek also had a little bit of a ta-ta-ta, did even Van der Hoek coming in. Well, and unfortunately the car just goes round. John McKenzie is another man that's had a bit of a problem here from Scotland as well. Same kind of area. Is he going to spin that back end up as well for McKenzie? So there we go. But Rasmussen and Ruiz going along and side by side with each other here, Zach, as well on lap 16.
Yeah, bringing the fire into the final 10 laps of this race. Into the loop, there's going to be a launch from Brent Ruiz. It never usually works. It gets a little bit dicey on the apex, but Rasmussen gives him the space. They emerge side by side going into entry. The 71, of course, keeping that position. Brent Ruiz wanting to maximise his run onto the Wellington straight. Now in towards Brooklyn's corner. Let's see who's going to be the brave one on the brakes. The 46 pulls out to the left-hand side. He goes for the move. It's all about getting to the apex first, but of course you can keep your footing around the outside. That's exactly what the Dane is going to do in that 71. The 46, though, using the agility of that Formula 3 machine, they're going to emerge still side by side off the exit of Luffield.
Well, Van der Hoek got a big old snap on that one as well, and he nearly terminated himself into Tony Jimenez there once more. Brent Ruiz on the right-hand side there, and Rasmussen on the inside as they battle away nicely with Van der Hoek right behind. Luca Brani has managed to get past Will McIntyre-Jones finally. Good job from him as they're going too wide, too deep through Maggott and Beckett. Never the best idea.
Not really. Possible, but not advised, I would say. Again, no corner is a no-go in terms of overtakes, unless it's sort of, the certain sector during Macau. But here at Silverstone, Max Beck's definitely fair game. Definitely Stowe is fair game as well. Of course, Van der Hoek side by side with Jimenez, side by side here as well. Rasmussen first is Brent Ruiz, who's ducking and diving, searching for that gap into Vale. It's getting very, very close between 4 cars here. Nearly a bit of contact. I think actually a bit of a tag through Vale over the sausage curve. Brent Ruiz wide, and he's very easily going to lose a good 3, 4, maybe even 5 places.
Yeah, he has already. Looks like Van der Hoek, Jimenez, Barani, McIntyre-Jones has all cleared him there. Ruiz tucks in right behind with Evan way behind that and Clark Williams. It's all looking very, very tight in this mid-pack here. And it is defining space. Rasmussen opened up about just touching on a second over Van der Hoek. Jimenez, Varane, McIntyre, Jones, Ruiz and Evan Way have not got that luxury. So for even Van der Hoek here, got to be able to... okay, you want to say maintain, yeah, or stay out in front. But it's so hard when you've got this amount of cars closing in right behind you.
Yeah, I mean, the pressure that is there is incredible. I mean, of course, Van der Hoek is going to be looking at his rearview mirror thinking, right, this is a task and a half. It's all aboard the Hoek Express. And, you know, as a driver, it's very easy to sort of panic, get overwhelmed, and freak out and not really know what to do with yourself. Then your driving inputs become a little bit more shaky, your legs inputs as well. Maybe, you know, you're trembling on the throttle trying to build it up, or you're not as confident on the brakes, whatever it is. You just need to try and suppress it, just push it down like that traumatic childhood memory that you don't really like as much, and you just want to get rid of it. Just get rid of that pressure, just push as deep down as you can possibly get it, and then focus forwards. Of course, easier said than done, as is most things. Van der Hoek, if he wants to keep 6th place, he's going to need to focus very hard and maybe hope that actually there's more battles like this behind.
Oh, 3 wide. McIntyre Jones goes around the outside with Brent Ruiz there on lap 18. Now Varane's going to try and come back alongside Ruiz. That is dangerous. So dangerous to be on that outside line there at that point. Clark Williams also trying to get into the mix with Evan Way in front. Looks like Van der Hoek has made a mistake once more, unfortunately for even Van der Hoek. He looks like he's just got it all a little bit wrong. It starts about here, I believe, as Tony Jimenez there as well. Oh, Van der Hoek on the curb there, and unfortunately there's a nice little pirouette as Van der Hoek. We can pick him up and try and have a look at that one there as well, unfortunately. So, yeah, some great action taking place, but unfortunately for Van der Hoek there, losing the few position.
Yeah, down 8 from where he started. And, yeah, a good start to the race, good first sort of 2/3 of it as such. But beyond that, yeah, the last couple of laps, he's not really had much luck. Of course, losing that fight for 3rd, dropping down to 5th, now obviously down to 12th once again. And it's so easy to fall victim to that loop of bad luck leads to bad driving then obviously leads to sort of incidents as such, or maybe even more bad luck in of itself. It's such an evil loop, one so difficult. It's like a very tight ball and chain that you just can't get out of no matter how hard you try, and it just drags you deeper and deeper like a cinder block around your ankles in a swimming pool. And unfortunately for Van der Hoek, it's just, yeah, it's dragged him down all the way to the deep end.
Definitely has here as well. Jack Williams, Rick van der Ven deserves a shout out. Long-time member and returning after injury that stopped him from racing since April. Well, he's in 25th. He's up 14 places. I think, to be honest, as shining goes, he has done a great job there. But even Van der Hoek has not done a great job to himself. I think he's just now driving the car on red mist as the fact that he's just made so many mistakes. And there is another one for Van der Hoek, and I would be very surprised if he literally called it a day here. Rasmussen's opened up a 1.9 second gap over Will McIntyre, Jones and Tony Jimenez, so they're still scrapping it out once more as we go on to the front left wing this time of Will McIntyre Jones.
Yeah, of course, William McIntyre, not this one of course, but another one, is of course a Formula 4 champion. So of course the step up for Formula 3, and sharing the name maybe is going to give the Austrian a little bit of luck in terms of his skill level. At the moment that's 7th, looking to go for 6th in the Formula Spaniard of Tony Jimenez, of course, who have both benefited from some misfortune, and in fairness that's the way it's got to be really. You know, drive a clean and consistent race, stay out of trouble, especially when there are so many cars and so much battling. Just by not doing anything, you can actually do something side by side as well under pressure as Ruiz tries to nip his way around the outside through Luffield. Didn't really expect that one, didn't see that one coming at all. And then of course you've got Varane just sitting idle behind, enjoying the battle.
Varane's just sat there kind of wondering what is going to be happening from these guys. They're going side by side. Varane now goes up on the aggressive streak into the Brent Ruiz, who does leave him room. Did they make it? Is he going to make it this time around into Maggots and Beckett's? Not. Varane tried, but wasn't quite close enough this time.
And that's the difficult thing about being obviously third in sort of a, well, not necessarily a 3-car train, because he's right in the middle of a 5-car train, but sort of even more so difficult because he's looking forward to attack 2 in front of him, but also behind to keep the 2 behind him. And yeah, if I was Luca Varani, I would not be enjoying that situation at all. But if an opportunity arises to find your way past the 2 people in front of you, then you've absolutely got to take it. But again, you've got to be cautious because naturally you'd like to set up yourself for good exits as such. V off the corner, turn a little bit later, take a little bit of a sharper, more prone apex to straighten the car up a little bit more. Mackenzie Roon now up into 18th. But for Varani, he can't really do that because in doing so opens up the inside too much to allow those behind to actually entice themselves to send the moves. So Varani can't do much to help himself. He's just got to really hope that the gap forces itself open for the 2 in front.
Yeah, the reason I picked up on this battle is full of what should have been front runners. Mackenzie Roon, Samuel Herma and Ewan van der Hoek here were literally no further than a second apart, but now they're a little bit closer. You can see it there as well. Varani and now Brent Ruiz still going at it once more. We'll pick up on the battle. Ruiz has gone in far too deep. That's going to allow Varani come through. Ruiz is going to come back on once more. And now he's going to try and go around the outside. Is Luca Varani. He's not going to make it work. He's going to try and get the run. Surely through the Woodcote complex he goes. Now coming down into Cops once more. Luca Varani going to do an absolutely stellar 2 wide. Is he going to make it? Is he going to sit in behind him? Here's Zach. He's going to sit in behind him. But I can tell you what, he's got Clark Williams closing.
Got to be so careful and so aware of everything around you going on, and especially obviously with such high intensity racing like this one, your head has to be on a swivel but also focusing forwards at all times. So you almost have to have eyes in the back of your head, eyes in the side of your head, and be able to process all that information all at once in order to be successful and 100% focused. And it is so difficult, takes such a strain obviously mentally in order to deal with the pressure of such crazy racing like this one, not only to drive the car quickly but also to attack other cars and defend all at the same time while tackling a very difficult circuit in the form of Silverstone. One driver that's got absolutely no worries about that though is Kenzie Novoff. 2 laps, 2 fastest laps, and right now a 4.1 second lead.
Warren's just done his fastest lap of the race on a 1:19.05. There's others getting their own fastest laps in as well. Jimenez and McIntyre Jones once more. Williams lost little bits of time to Varani, which has put him in clutches of Evan Way here. And Evan Way now has got to try and make it. There's going to be the inside. Oh, going to dive it there as well. We saw up front Brent Ruiz over Will McIntyre Jones once more there, Zach, as well. That part of the circuit round the loop is so dangerous. Just because of people coming in again as well. It's been incredibly dangerous for certain people, and I think at the end of the day it's an area that's got to be, you've got to make a decision, right? If you're going to send it, you need to know there's room there. A, there's room there, and B, that other driver's going to see you. Come too late, never going to happen.
Yeah, into the loop it's always tricky because in theory pretty much, I say it pretty much every time we go to Silverstone, in theory it seems like a viable move. You know, you go through village and you just extend the car a little bit, you keep it to the left and you brake really late for the loop. Yeah, you'd think, right? You'd think it's a brilliant move to make, and it's one, admittedly, we all have tried and we all think we're absolute heroes for going for it. But that driver on the outside, they're bringing it wide, they're cutting in quite sharply, and they can't really see in their peripheral vision if you're actually going for the move on the inside, because you're going to keep it quite far to the left, they're quite far to the right to try and get a nice apex and get a late apex to straight line that run through Aintree and then of course to the Wellington straight. And it's so easy that while you're so far on the left, they're so far on the right, you come in at the apex at quite a sharp angle while they're then trying to cut across to get their late apex. Boom, contact, round. Easy things to make, especially obviously for aggressive drivers that don't really want to give much leeway. For drivers that, you know, understand each other and can predict each other's movements, then maybe the driver on the outside can give a bit more space. But 9 times out of 10, it just isn't going to work.
Yeah, absolutely. Thing is, if you say, it's like you become a hero when it does work. Like, yes, I made it. And then the problem is, better that driver's diving on the side. Would you do the same thing coming up, trying it on? That's the question. So although you may feel a hero for a lap that you can go around and feel that good adrenaline rush that you made it, would you do them and give them the same respect, or would there be and you give perspective about their ability?
That's the thing, is that you expect space, but do you give the space? And obviously you're only gonna get what you give as such, and that's sort of a mentality that all racing drivers have. Do we follow the rules all the time? Not really. If there's someone out there that's weaving all over the place and, you know, driving like a not very nice person, we're going to drive against them like a not very nice person. Like, we've all been there in official lobbies. You get that one guy that's, you know, effing and jeffing on the voice chat, and then you think, yeah, when I overtake him, I'm going to try and get a reaction. Well, of course. Like, why wouldn't we? Like, that's just funny. It's just the natural human reaction. But if you get a driver that's enjoying the battle and you're having great respect, you're giving each other space, then you give them that same leeway because you're out there to enjoy the racing, and you have that mutual respect. It takes two to tango. But if they send a move from half a second back on you, you can bet your bottom dollar that you're going to do it the next lap on them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, I think, can come into it all as well. It's kind of treat others on the racetrack how you want to be treated. And I think from some of these people, you know, they're very respectful. They have to be when there's this amount of people on the grid, right? When you're in 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and you've got people around you battling, you have to be respectful of what's going to happen around you. You kind of almost need to be an owl with your head on a swivel here as well, because otherwise you are going to be in trouble. Brent Brewers has done just that. He went up the inside of the loop. He made it work over Will McIntyre-Jones. McIntyre-Jones gave him an absolute bucket load of room. Now Varani's going to get the run. They're going to be free wide here as well. Are they all going to stay? Varani's just going to back out. McIntyre's gone in a little bit too deep. Varani's going to surely look at coming up the inside. He didn't this time. He had the opportunity there, Zach, but he just didn't quite make it through.
And maybe that's a lack of confidence, or maybe just a wise head telling him not to be overly aggressive. Again, they've still got a couple of laps left to go in this race. Still definitely able to have another opportunity, another stab at it. You don't need to throw it all away on lap 23. Lap 25 maybe. But right now, be wise, back out, give a little bit more space, think a little bit more wise, because again, with how close this race has been, you overtake, then they're just going to sit in your slipstream. They're going to do it in the next lap anyway. Yeah. So there's no point being too aggressive to get track position when chances are you're not really going to keep it anyway.
No, exactly. But they haven't got long, though, as well as Kenzie Newhoff, who is out in front for the Hydro race. Race's forcing team comes over the line on lap 24. He has got a 4.5 second gap over Lee Aberdeen, who's got a 5-second gap over Pedro Suarez. They are the only 3 people in the field who have not changed positions. They're the only 3 that are still in their starting positions. Kevin Swebstra is up 3. Nicholas Rasmussen up 3. Tony Jimenez down 1. Brent Ruiz up 3. Will McIntyre-Jones up 3. Luca Varani up 3. And Clark Williams up 5 places there as well. So some good fighting going on still with these guys, even all the way down here with Samuel Hermer and Manuel Vargas, as Mackenzie Roon has got through on that one. It's now going to be Samuel Hermer's turn, I'm sure, to give this one a go and see if he can get through once more as he comes up the inside. Vargas is going to turn. Oh! Now Vargas goes in too deep. Is he going to make it around the outside? I think Luca Varani and Will McIntyre-Jones are going wheel to wheel here, Zach, on their way through left field and down out through Woodcote.
Yeah, let's see how well these guys get on. Of course, a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact as they run their way through Woodcote. Now the old pitch straight Cops corner coming up. Of course, the 222 of Luca Varani all the way to the left. He's going to have to use that outside swing in order to get the move done, but he hasn't quite got the overlap, runs a little bit wide. And now Williams is going to maybe have a look. I don't quite think close enough. Into Magnus Beckett, though, he's going to commit. No, he's not. He's going to tuck in the single file.
I thought he had him there. I literally thought he had him there. I swear. If Varani went for that, that would have been impressive. But I can tell you one man who's going to come at him now is Clark Williams, as they're coming down the straight into that Stowe corner. Varani's on the defensive. Williams is going to go try and go around the outside. Is Williams going to go on, son, commit? He's going to try and run him around. They're going to be, almost. Varani squeezed Williams there. Williams is going to try and come back out the inside into the chicane. Again, they're going to, Gee whiz, Batman. I thought that was contact, Zach, all day.
Well, thankfully it hasn't ended, well, too bad for Varane, of course, but onto the final lap. You can tell they're getting desperate. They're getting a little bit elbows out, which I expect. Again, pack racing, Silverstone, F3, sprint race. They're going to go for it, aren't they?
Yeah, that's the thing. They are going to go for it, and they are going to battle now as well. Clark Williams knows that he's only got sort of one lap. This is the final lap. You know, you almost want to say, like, you know, you've one opportunity. Is he going to take it? Come on, he's got to have a go. He almost made it there as well, and he didn't quite get through this time. Manuel Vargas, I'm a little bit worried there, has had an incident. Now, whether or not that was all on his own, or whether or not there was contact here from Samuel Hermer. No, Hermer's well behind you here. He's going to go round in a circle, won't he? Yep. Spins in front of Hermer. Hermer does go through. That is Hermer through. We're going to pick up Kenzie Noah very, very shortly as he comes round Stowe on this run down through Vale. And then we'll try and get back to Clark Williams and Luca Varane very, very quickly. I'm just going to wait for him to come around this final chicane, then into club, and then I'll pick up on Kenzie Noah. Is going to come over the line. I don't think. Ooh, but here comes Kenzie Noah. He takes this victory with Lee Aberdeen in second, Pedro Suarez in third. I've got a funny feeling Clark Williams there has either run out of fuel or he had a big slowdown at the end with Kevin Webster, Nicholas Rasmussen, Tony Jimenez, Brent Ruiz, Will McIntyre-Jones and Luca Varane. And then you've got Evan Way. Clark Williams is going to make it, so I guess it was a slowdown here once more. Rabelard leading the queue of Vargas, Potapenko here as well as they're coming down through Stowe. These guys have still got one more chicane to go. What's going to happen here? Is anyone going to be making moves, making dives, making lunges towards the end? They're not. They're all very, very civil, which would not have been the case in an official race there, Zach, at all. But, oh, is he going to... Oh! Potapenko got it. Yeah, he did. What about Adam Townsend and Matthew Gracie? They're coming around Stowe side by side as well. And I think Adam Townsend was just sweeps around the outside of Matthew Gracie. Absolutely stellar job here once more. And Gracie there, unfortunately, losing that place to Adam Townsend. What about Maximilian Gerhardt? Not seen much of him today as well. Been down in 37th with John McKenzie here, and Patrick Rowlands is going to be the last man over the line. There is the Scotsman of McKenzie, and there is Patrick Rowlands there as well. We'll wait for Patrick to come over the line here, and we will be able to see the final finishing positions. It's been quite an eventful race, really.
It has been. I have to say, I've not been disappointed. And, well, again, the iGPFun League, always a little bit of fun. Again, I always love, coming to commentate for these guys. It's not regular by any means. As I said, the last time I done one of these broadcasts was Aragon on the 31st of July. Always fun, and Newhoff a very deserved winner.
Yeah, Kenzie Newhoff returns and takes the win. Then Lee Aberdeen in second with Pedro Suarez in third. Kevin Webster fourth, Nicholas Rasmussen in fifth, and Tony Jimenez in sixth. Brent Ruiz in seventh. Will McIntyre-Jones in eighth, with Luca Varane in ninth, with Evan Way in 10th. Clark Williams 11th, Patrick Piper in 12th, Robert Ridgway in 13th, and Stephen Ridders in 14th, and then Leonard Cherry in 15th place. On from that, Chris Stewart 16th, Mackenzie Roon down in 17th, Samuel Hermer down in 18th, Vibald Rabelard in 19th, Emmanuel Vargas in 20th, Vyacheslav Potapenko in 21st, and Andrei Waskowski in 22nd, Zoltan Zamata in 23rd, Ian van der Hoek down in 24th, was just driving with red mist after a few silly incidents. Rinos Catini in 25th place, Richard Venn in 26th, Marek Gottlob 27th, Eddie Amos 28th, Stephen Larkamp in 29th, with Patrick Williams in 30th, Chris George Angelides in 31st, Ben Goye in 32nd, Adam Townsend 33rd, Matthew Gracie 34th, and Oscar Artiniano in 35th place. 36th is Jason Wilkinson, Maximilian Gerhardt in 37th, John McKenzie in 38th, and Patrick Rowlands in 39th place. They will be the last of the point scorer. Everybody else before that did not finish the race and will not score points. Alistair Hay, Andy Flynn, Michael Volkering, Rob Moldering, and Matt Brewer there. And then I believe behind that was Reed Dennis, Stu Milne, and Dave Palmer, who did not take to the grid right at the beginning. I think we can safely say, Zach, that these guys did an absolutely stellar job, right? We had, in the end, 39 finish out of the 47. So we only lost 8. That's not bad going with this amount of cars on the track.
No, what's that? So 42 is 6 times 8. So we've probably just lost just under a sixth of the grid. So a good 86% of the field finished. It's not bad going. That's A star. Good job, guys. And obviously, the more cars there are on track, the more likely there are to be more DNFs anyway, because obviously there are more hazards out on track as such. So yeah, not bad going for these guys. Nice to see that everyone made it to the end, and all in all, fairly successful race.
Yeah, absolutely as well. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody in YouTube chat as well. Eric Magnuson, Jack Willems, El Nasir, thank you so much for coming in. Nathan Richards popping in, and Alex Civilano coming in as well. But for now, guys, that's going to round it out. Don't forget, we've got a lot more racing coming up over this week on JPB. Watch out for the videos to go up ready on tomorrow. We have got Clios, GT4s, late models, Radicals, GT3s, Super Formulas, F3s. There is a bit of literally everything next week. So stay tuned, and don't forget, like, subscribe, and turn on the bells. That would be absolutely amazing. But for now, guys, from myself, I've been James Parfitt alongside Zach Sweeney up here in the booth. And as always, take care. Have a great race. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.